go to our institutional library and it's bleak. The amount of literature one can find in indigenous languages is absolutely devastating.
Mm.
And these are pretty much positive moves for me. But Dr. Makgabo, I'm thinking I also appreciate the collaborative nature of the project, drawing from colleagues from different institutions, especially sharing a common ground that you are teaching students and you share the same concerns. But I'm thinking about someone who does not necessarily come from a, who comes from chemistry, who come from physics, who come from mathematics. They have no, maybe they don't have knowledge of an African language, but they want to work towards developing resources in indigenous languages. What would be the pathway towards achieving something as remarkable as we have just achieved?
Thank you so much, Dr. Mashatule. Actually, being in the African languages, it's not an easy thing because you have to deal with a lot of things. There are so many negativities along the way. People are not yet there when it comes to embracing the African languages. People are still considering African languages to be, the journey that will take you nowhere. So what really is necessary here, it requires one to have that determination. In short, I could say one must be sort of a go-getter in order to get there, because there are so many obstacles along the way. For example, the research forum that Ziki is talking about, where she came to University of Pretoria, I mean, we just decided, my colleague and I just decided that whether there's money or not, we will push this thing. And if it means we have to feed people just tea and the sandwiches from our houses, we'll do that. And that's what we did. And we had to push. And eventually, when the time was nearer, we confronted the dean and said, here we are. Then he said, okay, fine, I'll just give you money, So, but we didn't have any money. To answer your question, one has to really push the boundaries. It's not always easy. We are aware that we do not have the resources, the books or literature in African languages. When we are doing studies or research in African languages, we always have to translate. And that one it's not an easy thing, especially for us, even for our students, because you read in English, then you have to translate. Sometimes it loses the meaning along the way, but it requires determination, I tell you. And I just want to let you know that, for example, ever since I got to University of Pretoria, I can see the change and I can see the support and I appreciate the support that the university gave me, because all we ever did was just to try and fight, should I say, the system, maybe to an extent, yes, but to try and make sure that African languages are recognized. And we are where we are today. I can proudly tell you that we do have students who are writing their thesis and dissertations from honors in African languages. And this year we have got the first students who, some of them graduated now during this season. The others will graduate in September. They wrote in African languages, both masters and PhD. And that makes us very happy because it wouldn't have happened. And that is also another way of trying to accumulate a database in African languages. I mean, I remember I had a student who was doing masters and he needed corpus. So he had to go there and work very hard to compile the corpus until eventually he said to me, he's got a corpus of over 5 million. But it requires hard work. So if one is determined, you will get there.
Thank you for those insights. And again, the theme of collaboration comes
Yes.
out that perhaps we need to seek people whom we share the same passion and we share the same interests and work with them and collaborate them in order to produce resources in indigenous languages. Thank you for that. I think you've partially talked about your inspiration towards writing this book in Sepedi, but also its disciplinary significance. But I want to dwell on the specific gap that this book offers in Sepedi language teaching in the broader scheme of things.
Okay. Okay, I thought somebody was talking. Yes, actually, what is happening is that all along, ever since the last time we had proper programs for training the pre-service teachers was during the era of teachers' colleges. And when they closed down, we lost everything. The universities picked up along the way, but now, right now, I can tell you, we tried by all means to look for the material. We can't find anything. We went even to the rural areas. We just cannot find any material. Hence, we have to start from scratch. Now, the gap that is there is the fact that there is no program for training the student teachers to become African language teachers. And since there is no program, obviously there are gaps. You find that the teachers go out there not fully equipped with certain skills. Let's say, for example, to teach literature. They are not fully equipped with the skills to teach literature. That is a gap already. They don't know how to teach maybe creative writing. Right now, we know about the Pearls report that 81% of our children cannot read for meaning. And you know why? It's also because in the program, the teaching program or the methodology program, nobody is being taught how to teach reading. And teachers out there, they just think that the learners will be able to read by default, and it becomes a problem. That is a huge gap. So that is why I'm saying for us to sit down and try to write this book, we had lots and lots of consultations to ensure that we are not leaving anything behind. But I'm not going to sit here and just say to you, this is just the best and that's it. You know, obviously, since it is the first one, there could be some gaps here and there, but we tried by all means to close the gaps. But I'm sure when people look at it, they will find some gaps here and there, and we are prepared to try and revise and make sure that we close the gaps. Because all we ever did was just us, the four of us, looking at it, but some of the things could have been our blind spots. So we would appreciate the comments from other people.
Yeah. Generally, it's assumed that if a teacher who's in training speaks Sepedi, they will, they will not speak enough to teach through the language. And I think that's problematic in the sense that one still has to develop a academic literacy or
Yes.
requires academic literacy in Sepedi
Mm,
in order
mm.
to teach through that language for that matter.
Yes, that is true. But can I tell you that we still have teachers right now who teach Sepedi. I'll give an example of Sepedi because that one I know for a fact. They teach Sepedi, but they were never trained to become Sepedi teachers. And this sometimes happens, especially when you go to private schools. You find that a teacher goes there looking for a job with certain qualifications, but now when you get there, they say, but you are a Sepedi speaker. We don't have a vacant position for what you're looking for, but you've got a position for Sepedi. Now, that teacher will go to class and do a lot of injustice because the teacher, one, you're looking for a job. You don't have a job, you're looking for a job, and here is an opportunity. And you think because you're the language speaker, then you can just teach it. When you get there, there are some of the technicalities which you do not know. You've got a textbook, but some of them you cannot interrogate. Then what do? You teach what you know or what you think you understand, what you remember. Some of the things you leave out. And that one is also committing the biggest crime. So, and I always say, and this is a fact, the African language teachers, those who are really, really qualified to become teachers, to be honest, are those who trained at the colleges of education then. And those people, some of them have retired, some of them are retiring, and some of them are with the Lord. So the others, they came just in the process when the government was trying to close the gap to say, come, we'll give you Funza Lushaka, come and do this. And the universities are still seated with a huge challenge of people who are doing methodologies in African languages when they themselves are not even proficient in speaking the language. We have been fighting that, and at our university, we went through that, we fought it, but COVID robbed us of that because we were not meeting the students. After COVID, now we started to clean the system. But again, we still have other universities which are teaching African languages in English. Now, that is also the biggest crime because you are not equipping the student teachers with the correct skills or the language. Now, when you go to schools to go and assess the student teachers, when they're in class teaching, especially the foundation phase, that one is a thorn in the eye, because when they teach them, instead of saying, they say, yeah, ke lion, ke elephant. But that is not what it is, because even they themselves do not have the correct vocabulary because they are being taught in English. So, there's just a lot that we really need to deal with where we are, but it starts with us. The passion has to come from us first to make a difference.
May I
Thank
ask a question?
Yes.
Since Abraham, you studied your graduate as your undergrad in both Sepedi and English, and there are very few people in this country who can say that, right? That they've done their undergrad in their mother tongue and in English. So, what is your comment to what Dr. Makgabo is saying? Your perspective on this, because you come from a graduate point of view as well.
Yeah, I mean for me it's I mean the program is almost like 22 years old, the BA SAMS at the University of Limpopo. It's an innovative program up to its 22nd years of existence. What it does is it disrupts, common conceptions that when you introduce multiple languages, you take away time from English or for English. The fact that one can develop, be articulate in English, but also do the same in Sepedi, it's a demonstration that the choice of languages of learning and teaching is not English versus mother tongue. It can actually be both in ways that strengthen one's capacity. That I've had experience of writing academic or scholarly text in Sepedi, and it was difficult, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, which I wanted to connect to Dr. Makgabo's a request input is when we're writing a book chapter, we struggle to get a reviewers and people who can give us critical feedback on the text. I wanted to connect this to how did you navigate that space? That here you have, a book, very powerful book. How do you solicit critical reading or people to critically give you feedback on the book or even get reviewers for such a output?
Okay, thank you for that. What happened was while we started with the book, we were engaging with the publishers. And I can tell you, we visited, I don't know how many publishers we engaged, and they were saying, no, no. The fact that you say you're writing a book in Sepedi, no, sorry, And I mean, even Sun Press, they said no initially. But now later, they approached me to say, hey, are you still interested in that? I said, yes. Then anyway, what happened was it took us a while, because what we did, we were writing, and then from there, among the four of us, we were checking each other. And sometimes we'd spend very, very long hours in the evenings sharing the document on Google Drive, working together there, checking the language and all those things. But now, the other thing is that the publishers got the reviewers for us. They did ask us to suggest the names, but they told us that it does not necessarily mean that they will use our suggested names. So anyway, we suggested the names, but even now we don't know who the reviewers were, because even the people we suggested, we did not approach them to say, can we suggest you? We just suggested the names. But anyway, the book was reviewed, blind reviewed, and the comments came back. We worked on them. It went back. And then from there, even though we language edited the book, they still got the language editors themselves, the publishers. Because after language editing, it came back to us. Then we had to work on that until it goes through all the processes until it is fully published. But yes, it is, the pool is very shallow, the pool of those people. But we managed, and we are grateful for that.
I would like to just remind everyone, welcome anyone who's just come in. I just want to say that Dr. Simtembile Koketwane had an emergency, and so he's not joining us, just in case you are waiting for him. But we are in a very rich conversation with Dr. Makgabo about her book and language teaching in Sepedi. If you have any questions, please also just write your questions. Please continue, Abram. I hope you haven't disappeared.
Yeah. No, I'm here. Thank you, Siki. I think another, perhaps a something that would be very interesting to people who are writing in Indigenous language is the question around, was there a editorial decision right in the beginning about the style of the writing? How do we navigate the space of dialects that exist in Indigenous languages? How inclusive can we make the scope to look like, or how narrow? We only focus on the standard Sepedi. How did you navigate that space? Because it can be a landmine.
Yes, I know, but we actually just decided to stick to the standard Sepedi, standard Sesotho sa Leboa. But again, as authors, we are coming from different places. So each one of us would come with, sometimes would sit on a particular term, and one would, we interrogate it, and the other one would say, but I know it to be this. The other one would say, I know it to be this. But eventually, we had to just try and stick to the standard language.
Okay. Thank you for that. But from the writing process, who was the intended audience of the book?
Okay, the intended audience is the pre-service teachers as well as the in-service teachers, because even the in-service teachers, they do not have any form of guidance. They just go to class. And nowadays, we know that they are being guided by, on top of the CAPS, they've got the ATP. But again, when you go to CAPS, for example, CAPS does not say much. It will just say, let me give an example about poetry. They say poetry should be taught. That's one sentence. That's it. But now the question is, how do you teach poetry? If you are somebody who do not have the skills to teach poetry, then it becomes a problem. So yes, the book is really intended for the pre-service teachers, because they go through the process, and the book even has got the all the different approaches, different teaching strategies of teaching different aspects of the language. And then it also has an outline sort of how to approach a lesson plan. What is it that should be included in the lesson plan? And of course, the why. Why should this section be there? What does it address? What purpose does it serve? And then the other thing, which is a big problem, is the assessment. Different forms of assessment, they are there in the book, and how to assess for various reasons, and also how to design an assessment task. We know that when we design an assessment task, we have to take into consideration different, cognitive levels, whereby in the CAPS, they will tell you about 40, 40, 20. So what is that? How do you interrogate that? So those things are also explained in the book, and also to moderate. How do you moderate an assessment task? What are the things to look for? So those actually are well detailed. There are even examples are given in there, steps that you should take, things to look for when you moderate, and after moderation, what is the next thing? Marking, how do you mark to avoid being biased and whatever? And also the other thing that I noticed that in most cases, people don't take into consideration is how to deal with learners with special needs. So that is also included in the book, because trust me, we meet these things on a daily basis. When you get to schools, we find lots of learners with special needs, and sometimes people are not equipped to deal with learners with special needs. So those things are there, and how to reporting and feedback, and also being a reflective teacher, how to reflect as a teacher. So those things are there. The other thing, we included the theories. Not all of them, obviously we can never include all of them, but some of the theories that people can use in research, especially for African languages. And those theories are explained, especially in chapter 1, they're explained fully there. And also the traditional literature. We know that this is the one aspect, even though it's there in the CAPS, but it's not fully detailed. So the traditional literature is fully unpacked in the book, how to teach it and why, what aspects of traditional literature, because this is the one aspect that carries a lot of our culture. And without that, we are losing our culture. So we included that in the book. But not only that, we also included the critical skills that are needed. One would call them the 21st century skills, because we are teaching learners to become the global citizens. And how do they become global citizens? We need to equip them with those skills. So those are also included, how to integrate them into the teaching. So yeah, it's quite packed.
So when you're saying that you use culture as well, so because culture comes from different parts of, not all Sepedi speakers come from the same place, right?
Yeah.
So so there isn't any conflict that comes with that?
No.
Like Sepedi speakers that come from the city versus the ones in Limpopo or in Mpumalanga.
Yeah, you see, that's when we're talking about the traditional literature, it encompasses that. But even though people are Sepedi speakers or even isiZulu or whatever, in one way or another, our cultures are sort of grounded the same way. So, I mean, when we're talking, let's say we're talking about the folk tales, they come up with a certain meaning, they come up with a certain moral aspects and things like that. So obviously, I mean, the Sepedi folk tales will differ from how you say the folk tales in isiXhosa, but at the end of the day, the morality is the same.
Yes.
All what we're saying is that let us be sort of culturally responsive when we teach the learners. And let's say you want to teach them storytelling, instead of giving them the Disney stories, why can't we tell them our own stories? We've got our own stories, and those are the stories that will resonate with our children where they come from. So yes, I hope I answered your question.
You did. Abram, before you speak, I just want to read some questions from the people. There's someone, Ngolile Gomtembo says, there is an interesting technology startup called Lelapa AI, dot AI, that is using the power of artificial intelligence to create small language models. I'm not sure what he's saying about that, but Julia would like to understand the title of the book. She says she struggles to interpret it and to understand it. Please help.
Okay, the title of the book is Mokgwaruta wa Sepedi. You know, Mokgwaruta, it's sort of maybe a little bit abbreviated because it is Mokgwa wa go ruta, the method of teaching Sepedi. And I know, I understand why Julia is asking this question, because somebody said to me, but why do you call it Mokgwaruta? Why don't you call it Mokgwathuto? But that one was coming from a Setswana background. I mean, tuto is education, and that's not what the title is about. But
Right,
thank you for.
I hope Julia is happy. Abram?
Yeah, I mean, I totally appreciate the response, because we have, critique academic texts, from the global north, for their biases, for their disconnect to our realities,
Yes,
and and how do we respond? The best and the most powerful way to respond is writing in indigenous languages, in
yes,
ways that reflect our realities, our theorizations, and our ways of knowing. So I want to acknowledge that. And it partially talked to the kind of innovations that are coming out from the publication. You want to take us, talk a bit about, how did you reposition yourself in the writing process, from writing from self, about self, but also in your own language, also the kind of innovations methodologically that you wanted to share with the rest of the universe.
Well, as I say, it was the four of us.
Yeah, yeah.
We were actually now trying to help each other. Sometimes you find that you think you're on the right track, and then somebody says, but have you thought about this? So I actually appreciate the working together among the four of us, because we were able to think through this thing. And sometimes we even had a WhatsApp group. And then sometimes when you wake up, you find somebody having written a whole lot of questions, interrogating other things. It makes you to think. It makes you to, we had to rebrand several times. So yeah, I think, but for me personally, and I want to believe it was the same with my colleagues, I was drawing a lot from my experience.
Yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that. Very insightful. And I mean, it was exciting for us to bring you on board to share your expertise, your knowledge, particularly because at ELAF, we have sort of declared 2025 as an important year for language transfer, as a year to find
Between the
innovative
generation.
ways. How do we document and share, pass on our language, and writing them, archiving them? Not that we're saying that the book belongs in the library, but it's an important archive that documents that language for the next generation. Are
Absolutely.
you involved? Are you involved in any work around that on language transfer?
Well, actually, I am involved with a lot of projects regarding language transfer, and yeah, I just do a whole lot of things. I mean, yeah, and I welcome the fact that this platform to try and talk about the book, because it's not, the book might carry our names, but it's not really ours. It's it's how can I put it? Maybe the legacy that we leave in for other people to benefit, and also to try and make improvements on that in future. But at least they would be starting from somewhere.
Sure.
Thank you. Would you, because you said you do the language transfer, I'm just interested how you like the practice of it. How do you said you are involved in it?
I am involved in a lot of projects regarding the issues of language. I mean, even with DBE, I do some projects, and then NECT, I do some projects, and even the printed, yeah, but just to name a few. And also I'm involved with the SALT, which is an South African Association for Language Teaching, even with their journal. So yeah, it's just some of the few things that I'm involved in.
Thank you. Let me just read some questions once again.
Okay.
Julia thanks is thankful and says, which school phase foundation, immediate, senior, or AFT is it targeting?
Okay. Actually, this book is targeting the teachers from intermediate up to FET. We did not incorporate the foundation phase because, you know, the foundation phase, the ECE, it's a specialized program, and it's not, you don't deal with it exactly the way we would deal with a language from intermediate phase.
Okay. Julia agrees. And Rahima says, thank you, Dr. Makgabo and colleagues for the write-up. I know it will be useful to all teachers who understand the language, considering that it covers the entire learning process, includes all genres, and also caters for the 21st century skills.
Thank you.
Professor Modignani says, congratulations, colleagues. We look forward to more of these in the future. Abram, I don't know if you have anything to say, because I wanted to invite people to, if they have any questions they would like to pose regarding the book. But I wanted to ask about, given that really all the languages have the same issue, why isn't there some kind of group from every province, every university working together on this? Because I can imagine that this book could have been a book for all the languages, because it's
okay,
all facing the same issue.
Thank you so much for asking that question, Siki, but let me just start from way back there. In 2016, when I realized that we are seated with a problem, I wanted to come up, I wanted to come up with a project like this. And then I worked with a colleague from UP, but she was doing Setswana. Then we went to Van Skyke. We pitched a proposal there. And then Van Skyke, they showed interest. But you know what really derailed the whole thing was that we even had meetings with them. But eventually they said, no, this book is not going to be sold. So you cannot write it in one language. You need to include people in all the African languages so that you write a book in all the African languages. Well, we agreed, but then we said, look, it means it's going to be a very thick manuscript if we include all the languages. But in any case, if they are prepared to work with us, we can do that. We took the initiative to try and email people for all the languages at universities. We didn't get a response, and Van Skyke could not work with us. So that was the thing. Then that one failed, right? And then later, we approached other people. Now it was just 4 languages. We said, let us do this. And it also failed. I think some of the things, I think some people get discouraged quickly. So it failed. Maybe people did not have the same vision, I don't know. And then that's when I decided that I will do it. And if I have to do it alone, I will do it alone. But then I realized that doing it alone, I came up with an outline and did all those things. I realized that it was going to take me so long because, I mean, my university is not going to give me time off to go and write the book, which they are not even sure that it will be published. So anyway, that's when I started to approach colleagues that, come, let's have this. And because we were sharing the same vision, then we started to work together. But otherwise, like I said earlier on, I am happy. If people are happy with this, I'm happy to share the outline so that people can write it in their languages. But I just thought, okay, I will push my language and make this happen.
Great, well done, congratulations. And that's what we hear, someone has to start somewhere. So thank you for not stopping and not being stopped by others not joining. Abraham, is there anything you'd like to say? But I would love to invite anyone to ask a question or contribute. Abraham, are you there?
Yeah, no, I'm here. I think perhaps it's just to really congratulate Dr. Makgabo, and it's truly inspirational or inspiring in the sense that this is not an easy job. Writing is painstaking. It requires lots of grit and conviction, especially in the context of writing in indigenous languages. And
yes,
it requires greater effort. And I'm inspired and looking forward to working together on other projects of this nature. Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you. I'm
Thank
looking forward too.
Abraham, could you please read what's written there by Dorcas in the comments? Section.
No, he's just to translate. He's very happy that he felt like this has been the most beneficial piece of seminar he has ever had.
Wow.
Just a word of appreciation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. Suzette would like to ask, where can we purchase a copy? Is it available as an ebook?
It is available as an ebook and the print copy. At the moment, as I said, the Sun Press is the one that published the book, but the book will be available at the bookshops. But for me, because there were other people who wanted the book, I bought a few copies, which I have, and other people who want the copies, then they get it from me for now.
All right, and that is at the University of Pretoria. If you've got my email address or the doctor's, I can give it to. So any questions, just email me. Everybody's got my email address. Who's here? Is there anything else you'd like to say? Okay, just saying congratulations, Dr. Makgabo. I'm a proud student of yours. That is Tabet Magane. Is it Magane?
Magane. Wow. Thank you, Tapelo. I see some hands here.
Oh, let's see. Which hand? I don't seem to see a hand.
I see Nonzolo.
Oh, yes. Please,
Nombuyiselo
please unmute Dr. Nonzo.
Okay, molweni. Good afternoon, colleagues. Dr. Makgabo, thank you so much for your presentation and congratulations on your newly published book. I was not here when you started with your presentation. I joined very early. I believe I was the first person to join.
Yes, you were the
But then there
first.
was an emergency. There was an emergency at the faculty office, so I had to go there and attend to it. Yes, so I might have missed a lot, but I did pick up that one of the reasons you came up with this book was because you identified some gaps on the curriculum. So I know that the African languages CAPS curriculum is a translation of the English CAPS curriculum. So the gaps that you identified in an Sepedi, Sepedi, they could be the same as the ones that we identified in isiXhosa. So one of our colleagues have already noted that it would be nice to have the book for us as the speakers of the other African languages so that we can follow suit. So I was about to suggest that we, myself and you, we can take this conversation, further, probably look at the lesson plans and sort of design, same lesson plans, but in our different languages, just to sample, because this is about the teaching methods, of isiPedi. So in isiXhosa, it would be the teaching methods of isiXhosa, you see. So we use your book as a guide.
Thank you so much, Nonzolo. I'm happy to take the conversation further. You and I, we will be in touch regarding this. Like I said earlier on, even though we started this, we are happy to share even the outline with other colleagues so that they can proceed with the work. Because this is not about us. We want the whole of the community, all our languages to be elevated whichever way we could. If God has enabled us to do something, it's important that we share with other people. So I'm happy to share.
Thank you. Thank you so much. There is the second person to speak is Nombuyiselo. Could you please unmute? And then after that, it's Mr. Fago who would like to speak. Please unmute Nombuyiselo.
Greetings, everyone.
Okay.
How are you guys? I love my short name Mbui, and I'm also a Duckies. And I know Dr. Connie Makgabo. I would just like to say congratulations and thank you so much for publishing this phenomenal piece. I think sitting here and listening to you, I'm very excited myself, being an advocate of mother tongue, to say not only are contributing to a body of knowledge, but you're contributing to what we call access to knowledge and access to retention. I can't wait myself to get hold of the book and to learn about the methodologies of teaching Sepedi. Coming from a multilingual background, I think this will benefit me the most, even if my thesis being in Sepedi. So well done, and I hope that you'll continue to write, because the only way to preserve indigenous African languages is by writing them and nothing else. Highly inspired, and congratulations to you and your colleagues.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mbui. Could Mr. Fago, could you speak? You're the last speaker.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Oh, good evening, everybody. I'd just like to say it's congrats to Dr. Makgabo for the book. And I think it's much needed. And I think and some of your observations and your insights tie into a bigger conversation, and that has to be had in the ecosystem, because we see the indigenous and Languages Forum, if I'm not mistaken, with Sadila, and we see them with Wikipedia. We always see them as part of something, but as I'm hearing in the challenges and that you faced and with your books, everybody wants to support you up until you want to do it on your own, up until you want it to go your way. So I think there's a large conversation, and that also needs to go hand in hand, because we have people in government, we have all these people, but we're just not hitting the mark. And that's my issue. And with these not these kind of conversations, but what they bring out is that we have an issue that everybody wants to support us up until we really want to do and something really useful for our languages. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fak.
All right. Yes,
okay,
please.
another hand, but I just wanted to say my colleague and co-author, Dr. Maledu, is here. Perhaps if we can also just give her an opportunity to throw in one or two things. She's one of the people we've been in this together.
Please introduce her. And
thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm more than excited. As she is presenting here, it seems like I was not part of the book. It's very interesting to listen to her. But I think just having the Sepedi book for methodologies is a very great achievement, according to my understanding, because as one of the lecturers that are teaching Sepedi, I'm from University of Limpopo. I've been teaching this language from 2014 and struggling to get the sources, especially for the students. Just imagine telling the students to go and get the articles in English and translating them into their language. It was very painful. But getting this book now, I think is a great achievement. And the presentation also is good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Here we have Dr. Sang Mhlambi, so saying a very fruitful, informative, and inspiring conversation that has awakened the urge to keep writing in our indigenous languages. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you've truly inspired. You're inspiring our audience here. There was Henry had raised Henry John. Mr. Henry John, could you please speak and unmute yourself? You'd raise your hand if you'd still like to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, thank you. A very big congratulations for the presentations, and a job well done. So I really find your presentation very interesting, and I hope to also read the book too. And I just also want to say, I put it in the chat, this book or this work is going to help the LLM, the language model used by generative AI, to begin to change the narrative of internalizing indigenous content in this kind of area, because we all know when we prompt, what we get is always different. It's always in the Western format, but now we will begin to get things that relates to our indigenous language. And I must say congratulations for leading this front, and I hope this scholarly work will be emulated. And in Nigeria, where I come from, where we have a lot of languages, and where our culture is also diminishing as well, this could be an opportunity to work with you, and definitely have this kind of thing also remodeled in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Definitely, I'm happy to collaborate with you.
Thank you very much. Abraham, I don't know if you'd like to say something before I land this conversation. Thank you so much to everyone who has participated, who has joined, who's been inspired, and a special thank you, of course, to Dr. Connie Makgabo for presenting the work that you've done And thank you to your colleague who also co-edited with you, just spoke. So thank you so much. And this is why we exist as Indigenous Languages Action Forum. It's to bring together like-minded people who are passionate about Indigenous languages, who want to develop, who are working towards developing Indigenous languages in every shape or form, but mostly in the practice of it. So we're really, really excited about this, and we're thankful that we could.
Kuleko has got the hand up.
Golego, please
Yes.
speak.
Yes, thank you very much. Dumelang, Auskon. I in fact have your book. It was gifted to me from Auskledis, the Hoshana Jaban.
Shana Jabana, wow.
Yes, I have that book. It was a gift from Auskledis. In fact, this is just to say that I will follow up with Siki. There's an important letter that I need to write, and I appreciate the chance to consult with you. It's a very important letter in a man's life, and I would really appreciate it.
It sounds like a lobola one.
No, that's fine. Bring it on. Bring it on.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad Indigenous languages is also helping people write lobola letters.
But you'll be the mediator.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for your enthusiasm to everyone who's attended, and everywhere that you're going to be using this information, whether it's through AI, whether it's through writing your own Indigenous languages book, whether it's taking this work and translating it into other Indigenous languages in the country and increasing this language practice. And there's just one last comment. Refulo says, thank you. And Nombeko says, I am with the AQTEL College in the African Languages Department. Would love to be part of the Xhosa designing teaching method. That's great. Whatever questions you have, you all have my email address now, and you can just let me know. I can put you in touch with Dr. Didi if that's what she would like. And I can also send any questions that you have to Dr. Makgabo. So thank you. I appreciate everyone who's joined, and even here, people come from all over, including Barcelona. I see the university.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
so we've gone far and wide. So we're really thankful that our platform is also able to reach different people and to put all kinds of people together to advance Indigenous languages. We are really excited about that and passionate about it. And once again, thank you so much to Abraham Mashatole, who is at the University of Limpopo. And he's also our vice chair at Indigenous Languages Action Forum. Dr. Connie Makgabo is at the University of Pretoria, but she's also part of the Indigenous Languages Action Forum. She's one of our members. So I just want to say thank you very much, but I'd like to give you one last word as we close, Dr. Makgabo, if you'd like to say anything as we close.
Well, I just want to thank you, Siki, for reaching out to me. As soon as you saw the book was published, you reached out to me and suggested that we have a meeting like this. So I really appreciate this platform. And I mean, this is another way of trying to spread the word and trying to say, good people, let's work together to try and promote our languages. This is another way of reaching the milestone. You know, the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, they said they gave us a road work to a decade of Indigenous languages. So it's another way, it's a milestone. It's one of the milestones we can go and tick there and say, this is what we are doing. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity. I'm grateful for this platform. And I want to thank everybody who came to attend this. All the questions that you posed, I appreciate them, all the comments. And yeah, I'm just saying we are here and we are happy to work with everybody. Please reach out and then let's do this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone for attending. And please, if you're doing any great work regarding Indigenous languages, send us a message, and we are happy to share your work. And thank you so much for sharing your work and all the work that you've put together, Dr. Makgabo, because we know that this doesn't just put itself together. It's many, many nights of passion, love, devotion, and belief, and working hard and collaborating. And it's something that's going to really impact generations. You know, it's not just for this generation. And as you can see, it's also going to be used by other languages in the country and the continent. So this is really exciting. So congratulations and thank you very much. And thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. Oh, and it's Africa Month. So happy Africa Month, everyone.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. And
bye.
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 Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.